going on, ladies and gentlemen? Jordan Sather here on July 12th, and what I'm going to do for you guys in this one is pull some articles in and paint a picture for you that I've been seeing in the mainstream media the past couple of days, and really what I've been seeing them try to do is ramp up their disinformation campaigns and really ramp up the rate at which they're trying to discredit the UFO truth-seeking community. So I've seen a lot of articles drop, not only putting a bunch of disinformation out there, but trying to literally control people's minds about people who are interested in UFO truth themselves. So what I've really been seeing is two things happen. I wrote mainstream media goals here. One is that they're trying to label the UFO conspiracy theorists as crazy or being fakers, and second, they're trying to put a bunch of disinformation out there to really confuse people about both historical events and current events that are going on. And the reason they're doing this, and the reason I think they're ramping the shit out of this, is the rate at which people are consciously evolving. So many people are looking for the truth, and not only are they looking for the truth, but they're beginning to ask the important questions. On one hand, we're seeing a lot of people begin to take the reality of, or just not the reality, but the ideas of extraterrestrial life being out there in the universe seriously. They don't ridicule the topic anymore. Just society at large, I mean the mainstream public, they're taking the issue seriously. They're going, you know, how arrogant is it for us to think that we're the only life in that grand universe? So not only are people taking these questions seriously, but topics like the secret space program, for instance, are making their way into the mainstream. So many people are beginning to figure out about ideas like the secret space program or free energy suppression or cover-ups regarding all of this stuff, right? So many of these topics are bleeding out into the mainstream. So what they're doing is discrediting those who are seeking the truth and putting a bunch of disinformation out there as they can about the truth to cover their tracks. So let's go through some articles I've seen drop the past couple days to really outline this for you. And the first one we're going to go over is how they're trying to label UFO truth seekers as crazy or fake. And the first article we're going to discuss here is Snopes, that just came out yesterday the 11th, because today, yes, is the 12th. And this article, the headline of it says, UFO enthusiast now facing child pornography charges is the subject of a new Netflix documentary. So this article by Snopes features a man named Stan Romanek, who is a prominent self-proclaimed alien abductee. But honestly, I don't know exactly how prominent this guy is because I literally have never heard about him before this. And that's just me having my own perspectives and my own experiences. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of this guy. I haven't personally, but I don't know how, prominent he supposedly is. And what this whole article is doing, you can go read it by Snopes, but it's calling this dude out for a lot of the antics that he's done. And I did a quick Wikipedia search of the guy, and he's spoken at the International UFO Congress and has done a lot of work supposedly in the UFO field. I mean, I don't know about the dude. He might be real. He might be a planted asset or kind of controlled opposition. Don't really know. But this article by Snopes, the first part of it really hammers home the supposed fakery that this guy has gone through. Now, I don't know if his stories or what he's done is fake or not. He's an alleged abductee and all that jazz, and people have told him to produce evidence, at which he's backed off very mischievously. So don't know if the dude is fake or not. My gut instinct says he might be, but this Snopes article is really laying it on the line that everything he's done is a complete hoax. They even claim, stuff he's done is easy to fake. So the first part of this article, I at least get the undertones of it being a piece that is specifically devoted to discrediting this guy, but also leading people to believe that everybody else in the UFO community should also be thought of as fake as well. Do you see? So that's what you get from the first part of Snopes. And the second part of this article is talking about all of the pedophilia charges that are racked up against this guy. Now, if he is a specific controlled opposition asset, there very well could be child porno charge against the dude, okay? That this whole story could be completely true by Snopes, but the fact that it being true, do you see? It gives the mainstream media, or it gives the deep state, a perfect story to run about a crazy UFO truther whose stuff was all fake, who is now subject to child porn charges. So do you see him being controlled opposition? Perfect story to run that's a real story, or could be a real story, to discredit and disinform. So there's that first article by Snopes, which is a bunch of BS, who, you know, is trying to write UFO research off as crazy, and then put the connotation in there that people who search this stuff may be into other weird stuff, such as pedophilia. So that's a ridiculous article. Now we're going to move on to the next one, which is almost more ridiculous, if you can't get any more ridiculous than Snopes. But this one comes out on the Express. And the Express website is a tabloid news website that the mainstream media loves to put out a lot of discrediting articles with. And this specific one says, the headline of it is, "They're here. Man killed after claims aliens are on Earth and covered it up." And this article is essentially discussing a murder that happened in Rhode Island, where the murderer was talking about aliens and some government conspiracy before he killed. Now, I did some research about this, and it was a real murder. The events surrounding this are real. This dude was crazy, and he was talking about aliens and a government cover-up. But this article is, of course, taking that story, which could have been a conveniently real story for them, and flipping their whole narrative on it. So this article, the subheadline says, a global is in all caps in this subheadline, a global conspiracy theory claiming intelligent aliens have visited Earth and world leaders have covered it up has been raised during a U.S. murder trial. So you can see what they're doing here is trying to paint those who, again, believe in aliens or UFOs as being crazy and murderous and violent, and like the last article, as pedophiles and fakers, and, you know, so all of these articles are coming out. And for those who aren't critical thinkers and aren't so aware, they're easily swept up by this kind of stuff, and it's really, really sad. I mean, as you increase in your awareness and your consciousness levels, these articles just become like blatant high school hit pieces, high school gossip. So get to that critical thinking level where you can see mainstream for what it is. So that's the articles that have really gone on around the first part. Now let's discuss the second, and the spread of disinformation about crucial historical topics. And one of the articles that really pointed me out to this as being another one of their modus operandi, another one of their operations in regards to all this disinfo going on, is this article by The Guardian. It came out on July 11th. And this article was entitled, "Atmospheric Sound Channels, Good for Sleuths, but Not for UFOs." And the whole point of this article was to spread a bunch of BS around about Roswell, and basically, again, lie about the whole issue. And they were saying the Roswell crash was really just a classified military, phone's gonna die there, classified military weather balloon. Basically, it was a military program titled Project Mobile that wasn't revealed until 1994, and the whole explanation behind Roswell was simply the crash of a weather balloon. So we all know that's not the case. We have tons of actual government documentation to prove that, tons of whistleblowers, you know, plenty of information showing that Roswell was very indeed 2, maybe even 3 crafts that not really crashed, but they were actually brought down. Won't get into the whole story. Roswell is real. There were bodies in craft recovered, reverse engineered. They're trying to spin it as if it wasn't. So, boom. Disinfo spotted. Real fake news alert. Real fake news alert. Next, multiple outlets I've been seeing about Antarctica. So Antarctica's been in the news a lot the past few days. Got the ice shelf breaking off, and you know they're trying to put their specific spin on climate change and global warming with melting in Antarctica, yada yada yada. But again, of course, in the mainstream media realm, they're not going to put out everything that we could know in regards to Antarctica. In their Antarctica articles, they act like it's this barren wasteland that no humans have really ever been on and all this jazz, but little do they tell you that Antarctica is pivotal. Pivotal for history in the last 100 years. We have to redo our whole ideas of who really won World War II when you understand that the Germans actually immigrated to Antarctica before they lost World War II in Europe, and they brought a lot of secret technologies down to Antarctica with them. They're not going to tell you that. And that's pivotal into not only UFO truth, but world truth, global truth, geopolitical truth in the past 100 years is Antarctica. So yes, Germans went down to Antarctica after World War II. There's probably still secret bases down there with stuff being produced in who knows what else, you know, ancient ruins, supposedly as well. So lots of stuff in Antarctica they ain't telling us, and they probably won't tell us, so it's up to us to find it out. I'm helping you here. And then lastly, we are going back to those tabloid news outlets, The Express and The Sun, and what they're trying to do here is put some spin on some serious spin on some current events going on, and that current event is the unearthing of the Nazca alien beings. We've got the mummified alien bodies that are being tested, and this was all unearthed by Gaia. Now, what these articles are saying is that essentially this, you know, I don't know if I've ever seen articles use the words alleged or supposedly or potentially or all this jazz, because they put this whole, you know, supposed spin on it, when if you actually look at all the stuff that's come out about these beings unearthed in Nazca, it's like as legitimate we've ever had. And so it seems to be completely true. And not only that, in these articles, they're trying to debunk Gaia, period. So it's not even, there's zero journalistic integrity with these. I mean, you can't really expect that from tabloid news articles, let alone the mainstream media itself. But what's going on in these articles is they actually used Snopes to try and discredit Gaia. So again, Snopes, which isn't it run by like felons, like drug offenders or some shit like that? I don't quite remember, but using Snopes to discredit anything is like, I mean, I can't even think of a metaphor to put that to right now, because it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like, you know, the fox guarding the hen house of fake news. So they are obviously doing a really bad job at discrediting Gaia in that, but they're trying to put some serious bad spin, bad publicity on this. But, I mean, bad publicity is good publicity these days, because they've gotten, like, millions of views on this in, like, days when they released the video of it on their Facebook channel. So, because of the serious ramp-up in all of this propaganda coming out, that's a good thing. That means we're very close to large disclosures. That means so many people are waking up, and the powers that be are doing all they freaking can to quash that. And not only are they doing all they can in the mainstream realm, but again down here, they are hitting it as hard as they can in the alternative media, and even in the UFO, and I quote, UFO community itself. I don't like to call things community because it seems like that like boxes people in, right? I mean, I'm for truth everywhere. UFO truth, Pizzagate truth, vaccine truth, cancer cure truth, all that jazz. But these same propaganda techniques that the mainstream media are using are coming out in the alt media and the UFO community. And we need to realize that these same propaganda techniques, they're archetypal, they're blueprint techniques that many different groups use to mind control. The mainstream media that we have in this country now got these blueprints and these techniques from Nazi Germany. Because again, those Nazis immigrated into U.S. Antarctica was a primary piece in that World War II redo, remember? But those Nazis immigrated into America via Project Paperclip post-World War II. Many of those Nazis went into the CIA programs and the mainstream media programs, and that's why the propaganda techniques that we're seeing in the MSM right now are the very same ones that were used in Nazi Germany. That also means those same techniques are going to be used in the alt media and UFO community. So a lot of disinformation assets are being turned on, being activated in the UFO community, and they're trying to label a lot of the theorists, like myself even, as being crazy or mind-controlled or putting out subliminal message or all kinds of stuff. I literally had somebody say that I was putting out like Nazi subliminal messaging or some crazy shit like that. So I'm not going to name names, but it's just they're really showing their true faces right now. And you need to really be aware, not only when you're looking at the MSM, but the alt media in the UFO community about, you know, propaganda and really, really bad journalism and really, really bad investigation by so-called investigators that's going on. So there you go, guys. There's a lot of stuff to look out for and to continue to look out for because, again, the conscious awakening is happening so fast, it's happening exponentially. So this disinformation stuff is only going to get worse. And it's really imperative that we work to hone our discernment dials in our heads, being our brains. So we need to get better at looking at all that. So anyway, I'm done for this one, guys. Peace out.